Good morning, Primary 5. How you guys doing? Hope everybody is doing great. I miss you guys a lot. Been in this place all alone, empty chairs. But I'd love to see you guys around so that we get to share one-on-one and make our classroom teaching lessons very interesting. But notwithstanding, the reason why you are home are also very important. So you need to respect and even respect the social distancing barriers right at home. Always make sure you wash your hands with water, with clean water, flowing water and soap. Make sure you use hand sanitizers. Make sure you put on your face mask if you want to go into a public place or you want to interact with a group of people. Thank you so much. Today we are looking at an exercise in English language. Must remember that next week is supposed to be your week for the first assessment test for this term. But unfortunately, we cannot have our normal test, our normal classroom test as we used to have. So exercises like this will be used to assess you for this term. So these exercises are very, very important. You have to take them with special concern. You have to put in more effort to make sure that you come out with good scores in these exercises, because these scores are going to reflect in your final year report card. We are looking at English language, and it is an exercise in English language. In our last lesson in English language, we saw the passive past simple. And we said we use the passive past simple when we want to talk about something or things that happened a few moments ago. And you know, even before we saw the passive past simple, we saw making sentences in the active and in the passive voice. And we saw the techniques that occur when changing from the active to the passive voice. For example, we said a sentence like this, the active voice. Paul wrote a letter. This is in the active voice. Paul wrote a letter. This is the active voice. And in the active voice, the intention is to lay emphasis on one part of the subject which is considered to be the subject, and we do not lay more emphasis on this other part which is object. So we have the subject and an object in a sentence. So in the active voice, we use the active voice when we want to give more importance to the active part of the sentence, which is the subject, and less importance to object. So this is a sentence that is in the active voice. This sentence is in the active voice. So if we want to change it to the passive, we are now going to change this sentence into the passive, and we're going to start from the object and end with the subject. So a letter was written by Paul. A letter was written by Paul. Here you realize that emphasis is laid on the object and not the subject. In the previous sentence we saw, which is the active voice, Paul wrote a letter. Emphasis is laid on who did it, who is Paul. And in the passive, we are interested on what is being done and not who did it. So that is why you see a letter. So our emphasis in the passive voice is focused on what is done. So a letter was written by Paul. So we see how we make sentences in the passive past simple. So let us make sentences. One example: passive past simple. Passive past simple tense. Let us take example. Here, the people were greeted. The people were greeted by Paul. 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 This is a passive sentence. This is a passive sentence. Because instead of talking about the subject, emphasis is laid on the object. Let us change this sentence into an active sentence and you see what happens. Paul, which is here, the subject has been turned into the object. Paul greeted the people. Paul greeted the people. This sentence here is active. Paul greeted the people. Who did it? Paul. Paul is the one who greeted the people. So emphasis is laid on Paul, who is the subject, and the people in this sentence is the object. But in the passive voice, emphasis is laid on the object, not the subject. That is why you see here, the people were greeted by Paul. But if this sentence should be in the active, where emphasis are being laid on the subject and not the object, it has to be like this. Paul greeted the people. 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 So, let us go straight to our exercise of the day. Change the following sentences into the passive past simple. You've been given some sentences to change into the passive past simple. And you know the technique is just to displace the object and the subject. You add the past tense of the verb and the past participle, and it is done. So, letter A. The sentence is Joe drove the sport car. Joe drove the sport car. That is an active sentence. You have to change it into what? Into passive past simple. You have to change it into the passive past simple. Letter B. Andreana wrote the poem. Andreana wrote the poem. Remember that sentence is in the active, and you have to change it into the passive past simple. The next one. The teacher gave the children some candies. The teacher gave the children some candies. Remember the technique. Change that sentence, which is in the active voice, into the passive past simple. The next one, the children ate all the food. The children ate all the food. That sentence is in the active. You know what to do to change it into the passive past simple. That is it about question 1. Question 2, change the verbs below into adjectives. We saw the suffix. The suffix we added to verbs to change the verbs into adjectives. We saw a suffix that was added to verb to change the verb into adjectives. Present simple, present continuous simple, present continuous simple, added to verbs to change them to adjectives. Adjectives describe noun. Adjectives describe a noun. So, the first verb you have to change from a verb to an adjective is born. And remember we said, if that verb ends in the vowel E, you have to eliminate the vowel E and add the present continuous to it to make it an adjective. Remember, for your reminder. So you are going to change the verb bore into an adjective. The second verb you are going to change is the verb amaze. Amaze. This girl is so amazing. Amaze. This is an amazing show. Amaze. So you are going to change amaze into an adjective. The next verb is interest. Interest. You are going to change interest into an adjective. And the last one is celebrate. 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 How many times do you celebrate your birthday party? How many times do you celebrate your birthday party? Can you change that into an adjective? That is question 2 for you. Question 3. State what? State each part of a newspaper report. State each part of a newspaper report. And you have to explain what each of that part is all about. You remember I told you writing a newspaper report, you must consider a style. There is a style in writing reports and even newspaper reports. And the style starts with parts. It has number of parts that you must consider. And each part carries a particular information that the readers are going to find out from that part. So you are going to do what? State what each part of a newspaper report is all about. You take a part and you tell me what that part is all about. You take another part, you tell me what it is all about. How many parts are there? Remember, I told you how many parts are in a newspaper report. So each part, you are going to explain what it is all about. Each part. And then the last question, which is question 4, in English exercise, write a newspaper report about the COVID-19. About the COVID-19. The COVID-19 that has kept you at home. That COVID-19 that kept you at home so that you cannot be in class with your teacher. That COVID-19 that makes military people to be moving up and down, checking for face masks. That COVID-19 that doesn't allow restaurants to operate after 7 p.m. That COVID-19 that is killing lots of people. That COVID-19 that has made many people to go in for vaccination with the first dosage and the second one. That COVID-19 that has obliged people to have vaccination cards before they can travel. That COVID-19 that has not only affected Egypt, Equatorial Guinea, it has affected many countries in the world. Many countries in the world. You know of some countries that many millions of people have died in such countries. So you are fully informed about COVID-19. You are at home because of coronavirus, and you know how this coronavirus has troubled us. So you are empowered to write a newspaper report about COVID-19, coronavirus. So I'm going to see a very interesting report from you because you are a living witness. It is still here with us. You are home because of that. So write, be creative. I want to see the future reporters, those who will write important newspapers, those who will make people want to buy their newspapers. Let me be your first customer to buy your precious newspaper report about COVID-19. You will be the greatest writer of the time. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.